Do it perfect, Mom.
Break it.
I said do it perfect. Hey, it's Jase. I think we're live. I was just teasing my mom because she could be a bit of a perfect. Get in here. She could be a bit of a just scoot your chair over. Scoot your boot.
Okay.
So it's Jase. We are joined by
Hi.
Diane and Diane. We have the two Dianes today.
You're a Diane sandwich.
I'm sure how I
Very
feel
good.
about being a Diane sandwich. All right,
What
there.
kind of bread are we? Can we be like pumpernickel? I like that bread.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, pumpernickel.
Any
Full
grain.
pumpernickel.
You're funny. I think you're rye. Whatever.
I didn't know this was a comedy hour.
Yeah, we didn't either,
Why not?
evidently. No one does. It's supposed to be, but just not. Thanks, Mom. So, I'm here with my mom. So, Mom, let's
Oh,
catch
yes,
up.
hi.
Welcome to the show. Hi, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you. Glad to be here.
This
Love being
is
here.
This is my
Eating with
mom,
my
everybody.
kid.
It was my mom's birthday
Diane.
just 2
Sorry.
days ago.
2 days ago.
Happy, everybody, please say happy birthday to my mom. Mash that like and love button.
I don't know if you could, well, you probably
Yeah,
can't see.
yeah.
It says happy birthday. And then it says, eat the cake and buy the shoes. Thanks, Linda.
So that's our friend Linda Ipaye got that from my mom.
Yes.
So thank you,
Bob
Linda.
Donnell says, hi, Mom.
What's up, Bob? Bob Dundell. So, lots of new stuff has been happening. Bob was over here for your birthday. Bob, it was good to see you.
And very nice to meet you too. Really enjoyed the company and your being here as well.
So on today's episode, we are going to talk about how you can actually have a different 2020 and what you need to do. And I know I talk a lot about speaking. So for those of you that don't know this, my background, I have a background in hypnotherapy. I've been teaching personal growth seminars for 17 years. My mom has actually been to some of my personal growth seminars,
And believe me, they've helped.
which is really an honor when your mom is willing to go, right? And then my mom's gotten some other stuff that I recommended as well, and I'll share some of those recommendations with you guys as well. And then, but before that, I thought we'd just get a chance for you guys to get to know my mom. Say hi. Napa's over here. He's getting ready to get settled on the couch. That's his spot right there on the couch. And we'll have Diane back on in a second. So, and just so you guys know, in case Mom, just so you know what we're looking at, over here for my mom's info, that's us live. And then here's what people are seeing on Facebook. And then the reason I have this open over here is so we can see, oops, let me mute this. So, and just so you guys know, in case just so you guys can hear, so we can see comments and stuff as they come in, they'll appear over here and we can see who's watching it. Well, we can't see all who's watching the show. For some reason, it doesn't show us all the names, but as we see names, we'll do it. Do me a favor, Bob, mash that like button some, and if it's appropriate, please like and share. So, Mom,
Yes.
now that you have gone around the sun as many times as you have gone around the sun,
Which
Good
is
way to put it.
34 times. 34.
34 times, yes.
Yes.
Plus.
how are you younger than me? That's incredible.
It's amazing what God can do in the life.
Really good vitamins, evidently. Taking that time. I think there's one crazy piece of hair over
I
here.
still don't have the mustache though.
Mustache?
I don't, beats me. I pop out with these things and my kid just puts up with them usually.
What was the thing you said the other day? And I was like, where did that come from?
I don't know.
I don't know. All right. So,
Right.
so Mom, now that you've been around the world, the sun 34 times,
Okay.
what is your best life advice?
My best what?
Life advice. What's your best piece of advice for life?
Well, for me, the main thing is to have relationship, love in your life, people that you care about and love, and you want to spend time and share life together. To me, relationship, family, friends is the most important above all things. There are other things too that I mentioned that I think are important.
Mention away. Say them again.
So,
Say them again.
okay. Well, one has to do with, I may have already said this or not,
You
but
said relationship. That's all you said.
okay. love.
So for those who
Not
are
just
taking notes, write
relationship,
this
love.
down. Relationship and love. So relationship,
Family, love.
people you
all
want to do things
one.
with, family, and love.
Oh, you've got it 3. I've got it wall 1
Okay, relationship and family, that's all one.
with
And love.
love involved in it. I mean, love leads it, love directs it. And then the other thing I was going to mention, and I have not said this before, but
The camera's right here. Just so you
oh, that's right. Sometimes some of the things I believe we say and we strive for, we really want to be that person and have that quality. And we don't make the mark all the time. Sometimes we miss it. And that happens throughout our life, which can be, a bit of a frustration at times, but that's the truth, I think, of life. And so when we say we're this or we're that, or we want to be this or that, we need people to maybe cut us slack, that we're not always being the person we want to be, which reminds me of that service we heard on Sunday when the guy was saying the Christ-like qualities we do strive for. And we want people to know that that's who we want to be. Doesn't always mean that we fulfill it.
So just tip on when you're sharing a video or speaking, you reference something that you did that they have no context of. So you said, like that guy mentioned,
On
you got it.
Sunday.
Yeah, on Sunday. So I'm giving her a tip and you guys a tip. So when you're speaking and you reference something like that, you need to say, so I went to church Sunday and the guy said this, and he was talking about the fruit of the spirit: peace, joy, love, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. So that's what mom's referencing.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I need to
Erica
memorize
Keith
that.
says, hi, Mom. Thank you. And Tamara King Murphy. Tammy Murphy's joining us. Tammy.
Oh,
Tammy Murphy. What's up, Tammy?
Hello.
Isaac, I'm going to be seeing Isaac. Tammy and her son and husband came through Black Belt, which was super cool.
Oh,
And I'll be
great.
seeing them soon. Erica, hi, good to see you. So yesterday, talk about not hitting the mark. Yesterday, I was just kind of having an off day, just kind of like a crap down day. And I think that women have, times of the month when chemicals affect them. And I think guys do too. And I think I was having that, as well as, I really believe this for everybody watching. When you're on the precipice of really great, amazing stuff happening in your life, I really think the enemy fights. And the enemy comes up and tries to, it says in the Bible, the enemy wants to steal, kill, and destroy. And when you're right on the precipice of amazing stuff happening and stuff that maybe will be used to give glory to God, the enemy really fights. And so I think that was happening for me yesterday as well. And I was just being assailed. But I noticed recently in the last year how right when I'm on the verge of some great stuff, the old voices of doubt and condemnation come up in my head. And so you guys just know that's a part of the game. If you're going to step up, that stuff's going to happen. Oh, Tina Kraft just joined. Tina, remember Tina? So after 9/11 hit, let me get Diane in here too. Mooney is in. We can all scoot in a little bit closer. So after 9/11 hit, Tina and I organized the trip to New York. We're like, we're not going to let the terrorists win. We're going to go to New York and support the economy and support America and say, love you, New York. And so, yeah, she's mashing that like and love button. So we did a trip to New York. I don't know if I told you that.
that's awesome.
Yeah, and so we took, did I take my staff on that trip? No, this was before I got into personal growth. This is 2001. So it was, I took my mom, and I had one of my favorite Christmas memories there. It was we went to a Jets game, if you remember,
Oh, yeah.
and they were playing Santa Claus is Coming to Town, but the version by Bruce Springsteen. And everybody just kind of, it goes, Santa Claus is coming to town. And everybody just kind of singing along. And at the end of the song, everybody realized everyone was singing along. So everybody started giggling and singing louder. And like 60,000 people sang Santa Claus is Coming to Town. It was such a great moment. Yeah, so Tina Kraft says no. I don't know what she's saying no to, but she said no. Ann and Trish went. My mom went. It was awesome, though. But we went to New York. We had an awesome trip. Hey, Betsy's on. What's up, Betsy?
Hi, Betsy. We miss you.
to Betsy.
I miss you most.
I miss you the most. My best friend.
When we went to New York,
No
after
to your
these
stuff.
children
Yeah.
are finished.
Yeah, this is Tina saying no to my stuff because I hadn't even done the personal growth seminars and started my company till
Oh,
2002, and
that's
then
right.
before I started my company. So this is 2001, and we did it right after 9/11. I'll never forget when we went to Ground Zero when it was still like rubble.
That's what I started to
Wow.
mention, and how you could see those things, part of the structure of the buildings
Mhm.
sticking up out of the rumble, and you could see the great big water, what do I want to say, like firemen's hoses or stuff, still spraying over that Ground Zero. It was very moving.
It
Very
really
touching.
was. I remember
Yeah.
crying, just like crying.
Mm.
Charles Bulford joined. Charles, I was literally going to text you today. Some cool stuff is happening, my brother. Charles is a buddy of mine from Vegas.
Nice.
As a Vegas inspect. So, any other life lessons that you want to share?
I literally would, but I hope I can get this out quickly. One comes from a priest that I learned some things from, and he was talking about how people, when we do our marriage vows, we say, I promise to love, honor, and cherish. Okay. But he says the part about love doesn't mean, yes, I promise to love you now, and so that's good. It's more like, okay, when those bad times come, or when other times come, rough times come, reflect back on that vow. I promise to love you. I promise to love you. So you put it into play at that time, even though it's difficult, and maybe back here we're still feeling that frustration with our partner, whoever it may be. And yet back here is coming forward. I have promised to love you always, every day, in all circumstances. And I thought that spoke so well when he was teaching about it, because I think when we make promises, we forget that we have to repeat them over and over and over and over. Even the part about, yes, I'll do this, or I promise I'll cherish you, or something. But it's an everyday game. It's an everyday experience, and an everyday, what do I want to say? What's a good word for me here? Something we have to refresh ourselves with all the time. So that's a life lesson, but his word I want for it. It's just part of life. If we're really going to stick with that person, we have to remember that that's what we chose to do and be about, if possible. Not always possible, I understand. So that's another one. Now, if you keep going, I'll be the only person speaking. Because it's funny how that triggers something and then something else comes up. It's like, yeah, that's very meaningful in my life, or for my life. And I'm going to just stop for now.
Thank you. Before I go to Diane, I thought this would be a good opportunity to embarrass myself. So, Mom, do you want to tell them about our old Thanksgiving tradition?
Well, yes, I love it. When Jase was little and growing up, every Thanksgiving, before he could write, he would still say the blessing, and I'd write it down, and then he'd say it at the dinner table with all the people that were there. And this went on for years, and it was just beautiful. And when he got old enough to write it, of course, he did. But one of the times, I'm going to tell the one that I remember the best. You tell the one you remember. One of the times, we have always, the turkey, like everybody, and good stuff and food and pies and turkey and dressing. And so one of the times Jase was praying, and he was saying, give thanks for my family and my mom, my dad, my dogs, my something, and the cupcakes. And it was like, what? Where come from.
It's
always what?
You got to be thankful for cupcakes.
I know, and that was always so funny to me because we never had cupcakes at Thanksgiving.
So Thanksgiving and always be thankful for the cupcakes.
Always.
And we didn't even have cupcakes there. So we're trying to figure out like where I got that from. That's the only really story I remember. The other one was separate. The other one was in our school, we used to have some prayer and it said, we would do these like in the future, in the past, something, something, something. God grant us great abundance. Little guy, and I didn't understand what they were saying. So I would say, in the future, in the past, blah, blah, blah. Scrimus onions.
Scrimus onions.
Yeah.
What's scrimus mean?
So that's another one.
I
that
don't
we
know. And I was
carry
like,
over.
what is scrimus onions? But I thought it's what everybody was saying. So I would say scrimus onions.
And this is how you scrimus onions.
Yes, you
you didn't
scrimus
know.
them.
You got to
I think this is scrimmicing and this is scrimmicing.
Okay,
Right.
scrimus.
Scrimus. Yeah, scrimus onions.
onions.
So let's go to Diane. Diane.
Yes.
This is Diane. Let's go to Mooney. That was funny. That was well done, you guys. That was impressive. Thank you. So Mooney, what's your best life advice as we go into the new year?
Ooh. Probably that not forgiving people in your life, you're only punishing yourself.
Ooh, that's huge, huh?
Could you repeat that?
By not forgiving people in your life, you're only punishing yourself.
I like that.
That's true. And don't people get confused though what it means to forgive,
Mm-hmm.
which I won't say anymore. But what you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Forgiving?
By forgiving? Well, it is interesting, being in a new significant relationship for the first time in a long time. And if something happens and I forgive that person, or even in friendships, if it comes up again after I've forgiven them, then there's clearly something I haven't let go of and that I haven't worked on and that I'm continuing to dampen my heart and affect me. And, it gives me the opportunity to look at that and come back and really, truly practice forgiveness. Because once you forgive somebody, you let it go.
Yeah.
And growth is really about moving those things out of your space so that you can grow, because you can't grow with all of that weighing you down. You got to get it out of the way. You got to look at it and make room, make space so that you can get bigger.
That's awesome. I when I went to that workshop I did, that 7-day one, I think I shared this on one of the lives, that I felt like God really laid on my heart, this guy that had murdered someone I knew, to forgive him. And I didn't realize how much weight I've been carrying around with that. And so I've been kind of mentally going through a process of thinking, who am I holding a grudge against? Who might have a grudge against me? And just getting out of the space just for the sake of having a better life. That's awesome.
And I think about,
I'm sorry, this is Diane's turn.
oh yeah.
Hey,
But my name's Diane too. So.
Okay, so go ahead. Good.
it's our turn.
Oh, I like that. Thank you, Diane. We'll just kind of do some nudging here and excuse us, right? So what were we saying now?
You were going to say something about
Profit
forgiveness.
and how to develop your business and how to.
Right.
I was going to say, one of the pieces that folks say, well, I can't forgive so-and-so because he hurt, maimed, killed, did something. And it isn't that we're saying letting go of that means don't restrain that person, don't punish them. Doesn't mean that. Like if somebody is, in my sharing, somebody has been killed or killed someone rather, it's an awful thing. And I think punishment does come in. And I think that it's not from us per se. We give up the space of trying to make the revenge and the punishment, give it to God and go on and forgive that person, but we don't take away from that it's wrong what they've done in our book.
Well, absolutely. I think people assume that with forgiveness, you then have to let people back in your life. And I don't think that's right at all. Like if somebody's really hurt you, forgive them in your heart so that you can move forward. It doesn't mean you let them back into your life or trust them, or, you know, that's not part of forgiveness. Forgiveness is looking at, this is a person who was in a dark space, who was lacking in love in their life, and it led them to make some terrible decisions. And anyone can be in that space, and you acknowledge that they are the same spirit as you, and you let it go. They're going to get their own inner turmoil from the things that they've done. And you know, I agree with you. It's not our position to be the punishers or to decide what the rightful punishment is.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jase?
Yeah. Are you here?
I agree. I think that yeah, I think that there's the law of the land, but in our hearts, it's like that woman, that cop that killed that dude in Texas recently. She went in the wrong apartment, thought it was hers, shot the guy.
That was just
And then
horrendous.
his brother hugged her. In that dark time, she will always remember the love from that brother. And he's a follower of Jesus. And if someone's a follower of Jesus, that guy perfectly expressed what Christianity really is about. It's about love and forgiveness. And so in her darkest moment, she could remember that embrace and that she's worthy. Because really, you know, what causes bad things to happen is Satan. It's the enemy. It's evil. And if she could take that moment back, I bet she surely would. And it doesn't mean she shouldn't go to jail, but that young man, his life will be better because he forgave. So it's really interesting that you guys got on this path, because I once graphed out all these different things about changing life, and I put arrows to show relationships with each of the things that needed to happen, like physicality and emotional and all this, and everything tied to forgiveness, because until we forgive ourselves and others, there's a barrier to moving forward. So I didn't plan on that being part of today's show. No, it's beautiful, Diane, that you guys brought that up, because for all of you, perhaps it's forgiving yourself, perhaps it's forgiving someone else, perhaps it's forgiving your past, your parents, your education, your lack of it, forgiving money, God, whatever, whomever you need to forgive, until you can get to that clean space. Well, I don't want to phrase it that way. Let me say it again. When you can forgive and create space, it makes it a lot easier to move forward. I don't want to say you can't move forward without it, because that's not true. Maybe in the moving forward, you find the heart to forgive. And if you can forgive, it will rapidly expedite the process. That's what I want to say.
I would like to add a caveat. And since you invited me, I will add it. It has to do with, do we know what we're doing? Have we had the training? Have we had the love? Have we had the compassion to form our behavior and our values and how to treat other people and how to react in certain circumstances? And I think about how some people just have never learned a lot of things in life about how to be kind, compassionate. Rather, they only know the negative and how to be hurtful and what have you. And so I think that there's a piece here I'm trying to connect with what we're saying about forgiveness. I think we need to recognize that sometimes people just don't know or haven't had the understanding, awareness, or training for some of the things that now they hold dear, but yet that's so against what would be treating someone with respect and with compassion and kindness and not violence and not ugliness. So what's going on in your mind now?
How does that
y'all?
tie in with the topic?
Y'all.
Kind of lost me on that tangent.
Okay. It's like,
I think I get where you're going.
I feel there's judgment sometimes about people's behavior that is not warranted. Maybe that's what I want to say. And that people do certain things or act out in certain ways. And it's not that they are consciously aware what they're doing, but more that they are working from old things back here, in the back of your head, sort of like old training, old experiences, old learnings, and
Got it. That's a
okay.
perfect segue to what I wanted to talk about. Before that, those shout outs. Danella, good to see you. Rory Warren, what's up from the Northeast? You Patriots lost. Julie Bolton, good to see you. Julie, maybe coming by the ranch tomorrow for a quick visit and hello. So here's what I think you're saying, Mom. And here's a basic premise I want to lay out for it. So this is really the training I wanted to offer you guys today about really changing your life. First thing is like a foundational belief. People are always doing the best they can with what they've got. The key thing is what they got. And if you've ever heard that phrase, if they knew better, they do better. And it's not knowing better up here, it's knowing better in here, like in their heart, knowing like if I say, I know I should eat a certain way and then I don't do it. I don't really know it in my heart. I just kind of know it head knowledge. I haven't made that heart change to eat that certain way or exercise and move that certain way. So what I'm bringing to you guys is when people really know better, they will do better. And what I want to give you is permission to get off your own back and to treat yourself a little kinder. If you knew better and you had more capacity, you would do better. So then that brings up the question of, well, how do we know better and how do we do better? And that's going to what you said. People do what they know on a conscious level and what they know on a subconscious level. And in the Bible, and you don't have to believe in the Bible, I do. And if you look at most major religions in all personal growth, it talks about your subconscious. And in the Bible, it says, above all else, guard your heart. And it says above all a bunch of times, and that means like really pay attention. Well, only a few times, or maybe just once, does it say above all else. I think only a couple times. It says above all else, guard your heart, for out of your heart is the issues of life. For out of your heart flows the well springs of life. And so in other words, what it's saying is in your heart is where things happen that create your life. And here's what I've discovered through my personal growth seminars that I've been doing for a long time and working with hundreds of people, probably thousands. What's been planted in your heart, the seeds that have been planted in your heart, and they're subconscious, meaning you're not consciously aware of them, maybe you experience them in feelings and emotions, are the things that will create your life. So for instance, if you've seen a woman who dates a guy that's a jerk, break up, dates another jerk, break up, maybe dates a good guy but turns him into a jerk, break up, dates a jerk, break up. She keeps being attracted to jerks or turning people into jerks because that experience of that kind of relationship is what was planted in her heart. If on the other hand, you see people who just keep having great friendships and they know how to get close to people and they bond with people and they have healthy relationships, well, they are subconsciously attracted to healthy relationships, and other people who are attracted to healthy relationships will be attracted to them. So now they keep creating consciously and subconsciously more healthy relationships. Hey, Matt just joined. Hey, Matt, it's good to see you, my man.
Matt.
So Matt's in Black Belt with us too. We'll see Matt at Dynamic Life soon. So they will keep creating more healthy relationships. And so what I'm saying is a seed has been planted in your heart when you were an infant, somewhere between conception, and usually most people it's like by 4 or 5. Some people say by 8, but really in my experience, it's by like 2.5. A seed got planted and that seed grows a tree, and the fruit of that tree is dependent on what seeds were planted. So now let's suppose that going into 2020, you got apple trees and you're like, I'm done with apple trees. What people will try and do is cut off all the apples and they're hoping for oranges. But you're going to keep getting apples because apples trees were planted. And that's the metaphor for your life. So whatever you don't like in your life, let that be represented by the apple tree. And you're just going to keep getting apples, and it's not your fault. That's what has been planted. The only way to change it permanently is we've got to dig up those trees by the roots, plant a new seed of an orange tree, and then the orange tree grows, and now automatically you'll get oranges all over your life. And what's really trippy is it happens like so automatically and so easily that it's easy to discount it. I actually have a story about that. But before I tell that story, any thoughts from you guys on that?
Yeah, I think it kind of ties into that in that you will only ever let somebody treat you as badly as you treat yourself. And so if you choose to love yourself and you choose to plant those good seeds of self-worth, then you will grow those relationships around you. But it does. It takes a lot of self-love, and a lot of that self-love is digging up those old roots that are creating these plants that you don't want in your life. And it's not always fun, and it's not always easy, but it's definitely worth it if you want to see change.
And I'm really glad you said it the way you did, Daniel, because
What about how I said it?
oh, I'll get to
I
you
said
next.
it in lady language.
Oh, he's pushing me out of the picture now. What does that tell you? It is hard, and for me, it doesn't happen alone, and it takes years, and it takes people helping us to see the light, so to speak, and others, books, seminars. I mean, I've gone to a lot of my own kids that have helped a lot, and I've also myself gone to other types and also done a lot of work with counselors. Uprooting stuff, we even have to become aware of it being there and how it affects us negatively, and without us even realizing we're doing it. You know, it's think of this physical shifting our perspective. You know, all your life, if you've been here, it's not easy to like, oh, I'll turn the corner here and see that it's possible to plant oranges. It just doesn't, I don't think it, for the most part, happens by ourselves.
No, I absolutely.
And I love
don't
all
think
that
it
you
does.
said prior.
No, I was just teasing you. You know, there's a phrase I've been saying to myself a lot lately as I've been going into some new areas of my life. Because as you guys, if you've been following the show, you know, I've done some deep work in the last few months. And this last year and a half has been a real year of growth for me. And so I've been going into what has previously been uncharted waters for me. And so there's a phrase I've been saying a lot, and it's, when you've been doing it wrong, doing it right feels wrong.
Yes.
Ooh, I like that.
Yes.
Erica just joined. Erica, what's up?
Hello.
Yay.
We
Remember
love you,
Erica?
Oh, are you
No,
kidding?
different
I'd
Erica.
never
That's
forget
Erica, who was my GM, who worked with me years ago. Hi, Erica.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Erica, we should have you come on and tell stories about
Yes.
how great I was to work for you.
Oh, well, true. You
I
do
wanna
say
hear
good
those
things,
stories.
and Erica was.
That was sarcasm. I should not have been so sarcastic. She said, I literally
a
didn't even.
gem for him.
Oh, she was amazing. Like when I literally didn't even know how to log in and pay bills. Like she handled everything. Thanks, Erica. She's sending all her love. It does mean a lot to me though
You
that she
too.
last worked with me 12 years ago, and we're still in touch. So man, it means the world to me. It's so cool. So I just meant more you guys could commiserate on how much you have to clean up after me. So no, that's horrible. No gossip. Okay, so back to the story.
A lot less now that Betsy's here.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right.
What did you say about Betsy?
I said a lot
She's
less.
beautiful,
now
that's what we
Betsy's
said.
here. She's beautiful and wonderful
Yes,
and so good
and
for
we
you.
love you.
We
So
love Betsy.
okay, so we were talking about changing.
I'd
So
say more too, Betsy, but you know, that'd be overkill, I guess. But I think you're terrific.
it's the Betsy Show.
Betsy show.
Hey, good time. Let's take a break in the show for Diane's date update. What's the update, Diane?
Everything's awesome. Everything is
Yay.
awesome.
Oh,
That's my update. It was nice. Steven spent Christmas with us.
Mm.
We got to meet all my
Who's
crazy-
Steven?
Sprinkle.
Oh, Sprinkle.
Sprinkle. It was great.
Wait, we do this for Bob. What do we do for Sprinkle?
This is Bob. This is Sprinkle.
Why are we not doing it?
You gotta
I'm
do it.
just so amazed by y'all.
This is
Bob,
Bob.
I know
This is
you must
Sprinkle.
love that too, right?
The Bob. Okay, so
Bob.
Bob.
everything's just great with
My
Sprinkle.
hair peaceful.
Don't you have an update? Aw,
But you
Oh,
can't
her-
see it. I don't
my
think you
mom
can.
had this put into her hair. If you guys can
Bunch
see
of
it.
those little fairy
Glitter.
hairs.
It's like tinsel. My
Okay,
mom
fine.
had it said tinsel in a tree. Mom.
But a
Did it
lot
just
of
pull a
ladies
chunk of
my
your
age
hair
are
out?
putting it in their hair too.
It's called hair tinsel, and it's really fine
Hair
tinsel,
tinsel.
and you just tie it
Fairy
in at the
hair.
root of your hair, and then it lays with your hair,
Yeah, hard-
and
I
it
don't
makes
know
you
if there's any there.
sparkle.
No, it's
Even
really
though
fun.
you already sparkle on your own.
Oh,
You don't
thank
notice it at first, and then
Man,
you
you're
look
the
and you
best
go,
too.
yeah, it's cool because you don't notice it first, and you look and go, Oh, that's cool. All right, so all right, so any announcements about Sprinkler or anything you want to share?
Any what?
Talking to Diane.
Oh,
No announcements. Everything's wonderful.
I have an announcement.
Continues to be wonderful.
Betsy's in Houston. I'm not going to see her for a while, so I'm planning a thing for her. I'm sending her on a scavenger hunt next week, like 12 days, 10 on the 12th, and she's going to go with her best friend all around Houston to visit all these places we went to together.
That's nice. A little love from afar.
Yeah, so the love from afar, so she feels welcome and love from afar. So,
That's amazing.
shout out to her friend Ori for helping me out.
Good
So
work, Ori.
I think it's Ori.
Ori.
It's spelled O-R-A, but it's Ori. You got to roll the
Ori.
R, I think.
Ori.
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 I don't know,
Ori.
something like that.
Ori.
mhm.
Ori. So back to the show. So changing your life. So now let's talk about what's in your heart. So Brian Clemmer. So here's how most people try to change their life. And I'm going to give you guys a free training in just a moment. We're going to post a link up. I cut a video about changing your life, and we're going to share that with you. So most people, the way they try to change is they go like, here's what I want. Like, here's where I am. I don't want that anymore. Here's what I want. I want that. And they go get a how-to book. And there's books on weight loss, books on making money, books on relationships. You know, if you want to write a best-selling book, write something on money, weight loss, or sex, or love in those realms, and that'll be a bestseller. So the question for you guys is, how effective are those how-to books on changing your life? I mean, how many how-to books are in the bookstore?
Oh, goodness, there's limitless.
Limitless. So Brian Clemmer wrote a book called If How-Tos Were Enough, We'd All Be Skinny, Rich, and Happy.
Oh, there you
Because they're not enough.
go.
And the analogy I have is someone might write a book about like how to win the Indy 500, and they would just write, you turn your steering wheel this much and you do the gears and all that. But if someone gets in that car and they are petrified to go fast, they will never win the race, no matter how much they learn about shifting the gears and turning the steering wheel. That's the how-tos. But the heart and the distinctions of how to run that race and the emotional components and the physical components will play into running that race. So what really runs your life is not the how-tos, because if you think about it, you probably know what you need to do to get the life you want. You probably know the things you need to think to get the life you want. You probably know you probably know the action steps that you need to take. But what's holding you back isn't any of that. It's getting yourself to actually do it. And so how do you actually do it? So I want to go external to internal. External wise, what my mom said about commitment and saying it over and over, that's super critical. And then the next thing externally to get yourself to have the life you want, pay for it. Put a lot of money on it. I'll give you an example of where I learned this or had it reinforced for me. One was for me with seminars and workshops and investing in things. Like I'm paying for a bunch of internet marketing stuff to get done. Well, it's out of my hands now. Someone else is going to do it. Plus I put so much money on it that I'm hungry for it that it'll happen. And I put so much money on it, it gets me to pick up the phone and make sales calls. The other thing is I went to a mission trip and I met this guy named Ben and we stayed in this tent together, became really good buddies. And the next year the mission trip's coming up and I'm like, Ben, are you going? He's like, yeah, I'm going. I'm like, did you pay for it yet? He's like, no, I haven't paid for it yet. Did you? I was like, yeah. The mission trip came, Ben wasn't there, I was there. Next year, he didn't pay for it, he didn't show up. And I remember there was a seminar I signed up for. It was a vacation seminar. It was like a cruise to Alaska. It was like $3,000. And I'd signed up, but I was getting busy and I didn't want to go. And I thought I'd only put a deposit. So I was going to cancel. And I called them up and I said, hey, how much money have I put down? Did I just put down the deposit? And they said, no, you're paid in full. I said, I'll see you next week. So when you pay for it, you will show up for it. So that's pay for it. And now let's go to the internal. If knowing what to do isn't the problem, so the actions aren't the problem, having the right thoughts aren't the problem, it's getting yourself to do it is the problem. But why don't we do it? Because of how we feel in the moment. I'm too tired, I'm too scared, I'm not motivated, I don't feel like it. And your feelings are where you experience the subconscious condition of your heart. So really what it is, the seeds that are planted in your heart are the seeds that determine your life. And by and large, and this ties into what you were saying, it's hidden to you. So I don't know of any way to do it, you guys, other than to go into processes where you work with people to discover what's been hidden from you, what's been running the show subconscious, i.e., you cannot see it, it is below your consciousness, and then to do the work to make it conscious. And then once you see what's running the show, then you can keep it or you can change it. That's the only way I know of to change your life, to truly make an impact and change your life. That's it. There's no other way. And typically, for most of us, fear is what's stopping us. And fear doesn't always feel like, oh, I'm terrified. Fear just might feel like I'm busy, or I don't want to, or I don't know how, or it's got to be perfect, or fear might be like, oh, I'm overwhelmed, or, oh, it's not that important, I'll do it later, or I didn't really mean it. Really anything other than taking massive action typically is fear. And so the subconscious will use that fear to keep you stuck. And one of the things they said at onsite that I went to recently that I loved was, typically we're hurt in community, so we need to be healed in community. Typically what other people say or do around us impacts us with our subconscious programming. And so we need to work with other people to heal it. And that's why we do live events. Every January, we have an event called Dynamic Life. And we start off the year with Dynamic Life, a new year, a new you. And I went through it with the attendees in 2017. Like I actually did it with them. And my 2017 uncapped, and I had such a great year. And so I want to share with you guys, if you're looking to change your subconscious, if you're looking to change the condition of your heart so that you actually have the life you want, there's a way to do it. And what I find that's really cool is when we change our heart, all the stuff that we want is right here in front of us. We just couldn't see it before because we had blinders on. When we change our heart, it's like, oh my gosh, where'd that stuff come from? Well, it was there all along, we just couldn't see it. That whether that's money, love, opportunity, businesses, relationships, whatever it is, it just shows. And like, there's people who are like, oh, I can never afford XYZ before they go to this kind of training. After the training, they're like, I can make that happen, no problem. Becky just joined. What's up, Becky? Napa says hello. Becky is a good buddy of mine from here in Boise, and she is one of Napa's sitters. Look at Napa. He's on his couch now. He's
got his
he's looking at us now because we said his name.
Because he heard it was
Becky.
Becky was on, so.
Becky was
He wanted to
awesome when
say
I broke
hello.
my leg. She came over and walked Napa lunch. Thank you,
Oh, I
Becky.
know.
So-
Oh, godsend.
So anyway, so if you guys want to change your heart, we're gonna give you two resources to help you. One, she's wave tie, that's cool. One is I cut a video called Change Your Markers, and it really sets a foundation for how you can change and how easy it is to change. And she's gonna put a link in there to it. It's yours free to watch. All you gotta do is just put in your name and email and you can watch the video. We'll send you where you can watch it online. We'll send you a link, you can watch it at home. And then the other thing is if you're interested, Dynamic Life is coming up the end of January, and it is one of the most powerful personal growth events you could ever go to. We have designed it specifically to help you leave the junk of the past behind, to just shed a lot of the negative baggage and emotions and open up this clean space where you can step into your greatness and what you were made to be and who you were made to be. And really who you are if you were unshackled. And we give you some high-level persuasion influence tools so that you can take forward your vision into the world and make it happen. So this is really designed for people who want to have a great life, who want to kick ass, who really want to make a difference in the world, who want to make a lot of money. We have a lot of women tell us they feel like they look 10 years younger and 10 pounds lighter in just 4 days. And it's also one of the most fun times you will ever have in your entire life. And you're going to make memories and friends that last a lifetime. So if you're interested, Dynamic Life is coming up, and now's the time to get info on it so that you can book your travel and all that stuff. We'll have it in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. Nevada, I don't know. Nevada. Anything you want to say about that?
I'm excited. I haven't experienced Dynamic Life yet,
No,
so
it's gonna
this
be
will be
good.
my first time.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Be interesting to hear what you have to say afterwards too.
Right? Maybe nothing. Maybe I'll come out like a Zen Buddha.
And
No.
that's your perfect life.
No Zen Buddhas. We get you to a place of stillness when we release all the crap. We go through these really cool exercises I developed a methodology. A client of mine named it. It's funny. I taught this methodology at LCS and this old seminar I used to do called LCS, Life Creation Seminar and Unlimited Weekend. And this one woman wrote a client about it. She named it DeSala, Discover Your Script and Live Again. There's a script you live by that was written by like an infant, and it's running the show for you. And my script used to be like unloved, not worthy, not good enough, can't have what I want. And I would subconsciously, like an actor reads from a script, I would keep recreating that all across my life and sabotage great things, and then also find reasons to prove that all that crap was true. And then I got to finally rip up that script and burn it, and now write a new script of my own as an adult of I am worthy, I am loved, I am good enough, you know, I have an amazing life. And so that's what comes true for me. So, but we don't go to this Zen space of just like we get there momentarily, but then we get you on fire because I want you to go create your life. Your life doesn't happen. You are always creating your life at every moment, consciously and subconsciously. It's just, are you creating it towards what you actually truly want, or are you subconsciously creating it towards crap? So.
You didn't ask for this comment, but I'm going to put it in there, and that is listening. I have been able to see changes in myself, changes in Jase, like you wouldn't believe. And I certainly give so much of it to you. And I also would say, for me to even get started on some of that stuff that really had to be shifted, I had to go through something wherein fear drove me to open my mind and my heart up to hear different ways to do life, to hear another way to approach someone. It wasn't easy.
Fear drove you to that.
Yeah, fear of loss of relationship.
Fear can be good. Hey, some shout outs. Tom Burrell just joined. What's up, Tom? Good to see you, buddy. And Tara joined. Hi, Tara. Tara's from Boise. Both of those guys are from Boise. Hi, guys.
Neat.
Good to see you.
See what Erica said? I learned a lot. That's neat.
We covered that a while ago.
So,
Nice to your mother.
thank you.
So
You're
fun.
welcome.
Here he is. Here we are.
So, sorry. You know, I was just kidding. Did you guys know that if a giraffe drank a cup of coffee,
The what?
nothing, I was going to tease the audience, but I'm not
Oh.
going to. All right, back to the group. So anyway, so that's the point. And thank you. That really means a lot. And it's interesting that she said fear of loss. You guys, you're always going to get a seminar in life. Either you sign up for the seminar and you go of your own accord, or life gives you a seminar. And the ones you sign up for are always way cheaper than the ones life gives you. The ones life gives you cost so much more. Tom says, hey, Jase, fear and pain can be great motivators. Absolutely. Becky's happy New Year, all of you. Thank you, Becky. Becky, be safe, whatever you do tonight. So
What are you doing?
Oh, everybody.
I am
be
sitting on that
safe.
couch right there with Napa. I'm gonna get a growler of beer and I'm gonna chill with my mom and hang out and get to bed early.
You're not going to go to the potato drop?
I'm not gonna go to the potato
Because
drop.
here in Idaho, we drop a potato.
Yeah, they drop a potato.
We do.
I'm usually way asleep by those times.
So
That's midnight, right?
yeah.
Mhm. I usually watch the ball drop at
Wait. When is New Year's again? Midnight. Is it? It's midnight, right?
I watch the ball drop at 10 and I tell my kids it's midnight.
It's a good thing we can laugh at
Because
stuff
it is
like
on
this,
the East Coast.
See, he's laughing
Wait,
at me, but
wait,
he's
what?
not. He's
That's the
got his heart
perfection.
in
That's
it.
the perfectionist in her. Wait, what time is New Year's again? Is it
I didn't
12 or is
say
it
that.
12:01? What time is it
I didn't
again? Is
say
it?
that.
You said it's at midnight, right?
But I meant that's when the potato drops.
The potato drops.
No, they do it at 10 o'clock
Oh, no.
to celebrate the
This
East
is
Coast.
Idaho. How do I know what they do in Idaho?
No one knows what we do here. It's really quite a mystery.
Thank
We are
you.
bizarre people.
All right.
Don't come to Idaho. It's just snow
Oh,
and potatoes.
Snow and potatoes.
I did tell Jase though that when he was talking about staying at home and getting his growler and all that, I said, well, good, because then I can have your car so I can go out and party. I know a couple places to go now.
Ooh.
Maybe I'll go to
Whoa.
Clairvoyant tonight. I don't know. Maybe
Oh,
I'll take
dear.
Napa. I'll go to
Well,
Clairvoyant.
that'd be kind of fun.
I just think it'd be kind of cool to, well, so Betsy's back in Houston, and Betsy is who I would want to spend it with, and that's the only person I would kiss. And
That's the only what?
person I would kiss.
I'm supposed to kiss somebody at midnight.
Yeah,
Kisses here.
yeah, but you got what I
here.
said. So,
Kiss your mom.
okay,
Yeah, you're allowed.
Can I
Or
talk?
Napa even. No, we like to get in on it. You invited us. I'm sorry. I can remember watching this show. I can remember watching this at various Tuesdays and thinking, where are they going with this? And then it was clear or it was funny. And so it's like, now we're doing that and I get it.
we just, why?
You want to go get some lunch?
Thank you.
Yeah,
This
we'll
is
get
my
some lunch,
show.
Mom. Just close the computer when you're done. So,
Oh,
anyway, yeah, we have stuff we want to do tomorrow. So I just thought symbolically,
yes.
it should be cool. I know where just to go out and be around people like driving dangerously and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Clairvoyant would be fun, especially because I could bring the Napster. But yeah. So I thought I'm just stay home, chill.
And
I'm
we
getting
can
over
do
that
that
cold
too.
still. You guys, I had bronchitis. It's good we didn't have a show scheduled last week. I was sick.
Mhm.
Poor Betsy's still sick. She barely talked.
Oh,
So, all right. So back to you and changing your life. Do the work. I can't tell you guys how many seminars and events I've been to. So a recommendation I have for you, I think everyone should do the Landmark Forum. It's an amazing course. Books to read, Wild at Heart or Captivating are two phenomenal books I think everyone should read. And Tom says I need to have Mom on you with more often. All right. I agree. Mom's awesome.
oh, thank you.
So you've met
Gracious.
Tom, Mom. And in Dynamic Life, if we do it once a year, that's it. It's every January, and it's one of the most, it's intense. Like you got to bring it and you got to bring yourself to it. And it's designed for entrepreneurs. Anyone can come and anyone's welcome. And it's designed for entrepreneurs to get on fire and absolutely rocking with their life. So if this is for you, if you are interested, we would love, 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 love to have you there. So we will see you soon. And anything you want to add?
Happy New Year. Happy last day of 2019.
Yeah. Happy
Yeah.
New Year.
God bless all.
Mhm.
How does that go? God bless us all, everyone,
Every
or
single
something
one
like
of you.
that.
God
Little
bless
tiny,
us,
whatever his
everyone.
name was.
Yeah. Is that Tiny Tim?
And have a blessed New Year too.
My sister was Tiny Tim in a play. There we go.
Oh, fun. I can see that. What, Jase?
Tell us your best joke.
Oh dear. Give me a moment. It takes me a while to think of things like that. So
Well, Dynamic Life is going to be like a fire at a circus.
How is Dynamic Life going to be like a fire circus?
It's going to be intense.
yeah.
Yeah, nice. I know where you're going with that one.
That was terrific.
Now's the part of the show where we just babble. So, questions from the audience? Anybody have a question, comment? Mom, what's been your favorite part of our vacation together?
Oh my gosh, why does he do this to me? Being together, hanging out together, chatting, and just being very comfortable and enjoying. And I certainly, I'm hesitating to say it because I want to say this just right. And that is, I am very happy to meet Betsy. And I'm very happy to feel comfortable with her and kind and loving the way she is. Because you just never know, right? And so it was terrific. And I look forward to future times together and other things that we'll do. And we'll have a good time.
That's awesome. By the way, if you're watching, do you have any recommendations on how to learn Spanish? I need to learn Spanish.
I told you.
Rapido.
I told
Como
you about the
esta?
Spanish
You said it wasn't working for you.
because I'm not doing it every day.
Oh.
I like how Julie here said the Roaring 20s will rock. I think that's
Ooh,
awesome.
neat.
We are back in the 20s. Let's
Oh,
have
I
someone
like
all do the Charleston.
that. That is neat.
20s parties. Let's all learn how to Lindy Hop.
Uh-oh.
We're gonna do this. Can you do
Uh-oh.
this?
Is he
Come on,
gonna-
let's all do the Charleston. We'll get out of here.
Oh. Well, at one time I had to do a little bit.
Everyone probably knows how to do it best. You know how to do it, Mom?
Well, at one time I did. Let's see. Charles, wait, I can't do it.
The Charleston.
You can't see my
Like
feet.
this one?
Yeah, the Charleston's this one.
Yeah, that's part of it too, but this is also part of it when they do it that way.
That's
Oh
why
my
it's like so good.
goodness.
We love you guys. Bye. Enjoy the 20s. We will see you guys somewhere in the future. All right, Mom, do that part.
Picture.
Don't leave that part out.
Ba, 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 ba. Da, 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 Charleston. Ba, ba.
Da, 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 flap for dance, flap for dance, flap for, flap for. Hi, Lori.
Bye, Ray.
Bye.
Bye.
Happy 20s.